The Empire demanded explanations. Accusations filled the chamber. Threats followed. The human general did not raise her voice. She did not argue. She simply stated the truth. You attacked. Earth first. The room fell silent because everyone understood what came next. This was not a declaration of war. It was a warning, and humanity never issues those twice. Asterisk, the reckoning begins. The Zaltharian Empire had ruled the western quadrant of the galaxy for 12,000 years. Their ships were legends whispered across 100 worlds. Their weapons could shatter moons. Their armies had never known defeat. They controlled 73 star systems and governed 42 intelligent species. Every civilization that encountered them faced the same choice: submit or be erased. The Zaltharians believed themselves to be the peak of evolution. Their technology was unmatched. Their military doctrine was perfected over millennia. They saw other species as either useful servants or obstacles to be removed. There was no middle ground in their philosophy. Strength was the only virtue that mattered. Weakness was the only sin. On a cold morning in March, the Zaltharian warfleet appeared in Earth's outer colonies without warning. They did not send diplomatic messages. They did not issue ultimatums. They simply opened fire on the settlement of New Hope on Europa, Jupiter's moon. 15,000 colonists died in the first 30 seconds. The mining facility on Titan was next. Then the research station orbiting Saturn. One by one, humanity's outer colonies were turned to ash and debris. Earth's defense fleet scrambled to respond, but they were unprepared for the speed and brutality of the attack. The Zaltharian ships moved like predators, striking and withdrawing before human forces could mount a defense. Within 8 hours, humanity had lost every installation beyond the asteroid belt. The death toll reached 200,000 souls. The Zaltharian commander, a veteran warrior named Vexter, watched the destruction from his flagship with satisfaction. This had been a demonstration, nothing more. A message to the humans that their expansion into space would not be tolerated. The Zaltharians had claimed this region of space centuries before humans even discovered fire. These primitive creatures needed to understand their place in the cosmic order. Vexter sent a single transmission to Earth. It was brief and absolute. You have trespassed into Zaltharian territory. Your colonies have been removed. Withdraw all human presence beyond your home system or face complete annihilation. You have 1 solar cycle to comply. Then the Zaltharian fleet departed, leaving behind only wreckage and silence. On Earth, the United Colonies Emergency Council convened in an underground bunker beneath Geneva. World leaders stared at screens showing the destruction. 200,000 people gone. Entire communities wiped from existence. Children, scientists, miners, teachers, families who had dreamed of building new homes among the stars. All reduced to atoms scattered across the void. General Elena Frost sat at the far end of the conference table. She had not spoken since the meeting began. Her face was carved from stone. Her eyes were focused on a photograph in her hand. The picture showed 3 people, a man, a woman, and a young girl smiling at the camera. Her husband, Marcus, had been chief engineer at the Titan facility. Her daughter, Sophie, had just turned 7. She had been attending the colony school when the attack came. They were gone now. Not missing, not injured, gone. The Zaltharian plasma weapons left nothing behind. There were no bodies to bury, no graves to visit, nothing but memories and a photograph that Elena held so tightly her knuckles had turned white. The council debated for hours. Some argued for immediate retaliation. Others counseled caution and negotiation. A few suggested compliance with the Zaltharian demands. The arguments grew heated. Voices rose in anger and fear and grief. Elena listened to it, all in silence. Finally she stood. The room fell quiet. We cannot fight them, she said. Her voice was calm and cold. Not today. Not with what we have now. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. Their fleet could destroy Earth before our ships left orbit. Several council members nodded in agreement. At least someone was being realistic. But we will not surrender, Elena continued. We will not abandon space. We will not accept their dominance. She placed her photograph on the table. They killed our people without warning. They murdered children. They believed we would break. She looked around the table, meeting each person's eyes. We need time. We need to build. We need to learn. We need to become strong enough to make them regret what they have done. Her voice never rose, never wavered. I propose we accept their terms publicly while we prepare in secret. We withdraw to our system. We appear to submit. And we spend every moment of every day getting ready for the war that is coming. The vote was unanimous. For 3 years, Earth was silent. Human ships remained within the solar system. No new colonies were established. No exploratory missions ventured into deep space. To any observer, it appeared that humanity had accepted its place. The Zaltharians considered the matter closed and turned their attention to other conquests. But beneath the surface of Earth and hidden in asteroid facilities, humanity was transforming itself. Every resource was directed toward a single goal. Scientists worked around the clock developing new weapons and new propulsion systems. Engineers built shipyards in the shadows of distant moons. Military strategists studied every scrap of data about Zaltharian tactics and technology. General Lenon Frost led the effort. She had been promoted to Supreme Commander of the United Colonies Defense Force. She slept 4 hours a night. She never smiled. She never took a day of rest. Every waking moment was dedicated to preparing for the confrontation that would come. Dr. Sarah Chin, Earth's leading physicist, made the first breakthrough. She discovered a way to generate quantum displacement fields that could phase ships slightly out of normal space. It made them nearly invisible to conventional sensors. When she presented the prototype to Elena, the general asked only one question. Can we put this on every ship in the fleet? Yes, Sarah replied. But it will take time. How much time? 2 years. Maybe less if we prioritize production. You have 18 months, Elena said. Make it happen. Commander James Rivera oversaw the construction of the new fleet. He had been Elena's friend since their academy days. He understood her pain because he carried his own. His brother had died on Europa. Every ship he built, every weapon system he installed, was a step toward balancing that ledger. The new human vessels were unlike anything that had come before. They were smaller than Zaltharian dreadnoughts, but faster and more maneuverable. They carried weapons designed specifically to penetrate Zaltharian shields. They could strike from stealth and disappear before retaliation was possible. 3 years and 4 months after the attack on the colonies, the human fleet was ready. 500 warships crewed by men and women who had lost everything. Every captain had volunteered. Every soldier knew the risk. They were not fighting for glory or conquest. They were fighting for the 200,000 who could never fight again. Elena stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Remembrance. Around her, officers worked with quiet efficiency. There were no speeches or ceremonies. Everyone knew what was at stake. Commander Rivera, Elena said, open a channel to the Zaltharian High Command. Channel open, General. Elena looked into the camera. Her face showed no emotion. Her voice was steady and clear. This is General Elena Frost of Earth. 3 years ago, your forces attacked our colonies without provocation. You killed 200,000 human beings. You believed we would accept this. You believed we would submit to your rule. You were wrong. She paused, letting her words carry across the light years to the Zaltharian homeworld. You struck Earth first. You chose this war. Now we are coming for you. This is not a threat. This is a promise. We are coming for every ship, every station, every military installation you have built on our territory. We are coming to teach you what happens when you murder our children. Another pause. You have 12 hours to evacuate all military personnel from the territories you stole from us. After that, anything bearing Zaltharian military signatures will be destroyed. You started this. We will finish it. Elena ended the transmission. She said quietly, take us to their nearest outpost. It's time they learned what humanity does to those who attack us first. The Remembrance and her fleet jumped into the darkness. The waiting was over. The reckoning had begun. The price of arrogance, 1,500 words. The Zalthray High Command received General Frost's transmission. In their war chamber on the capital world of Zalthar Prime, council of military leaders watched the human woman's message with a mixture of amusement and disbelief. Emperor Vexter, who had led the attack on Earth's colonies 3 years ago, laughed openly when the transmission ended. "The humans think they can threaten us," he said to his assembled commanders. "They hide in their single star system for 3 years, and now they believe they have become warriors. This is entertaining." His second officer, a seasoned general named Crothel, was less amused. "My emperor, perhaps we should investigate what they have been doing during these 3 years. They would not issue such a warning without reason." Vexter waved his hand dismissively. "They are primitives. 3 years is nothing. It took our civilization 10,000 years to develop our current technology. What could they possibly have created in such a short time?" He stood from his throne. "Send a battle group to their border. Destroy whatever pathetic fleet they have assembled. Show them again why the Zalthrian Empire is supreme." Commander Krathel bowed and left to carry out the orders. He still felt uneasy, but he had learned long ago not to question the Emperor too forcefully. Vexter valued obedience above wisdom. The Zalthrian battle group consisted of 20 warships, more than enough to handle any threat the humans could pose. They were veteran vessels that had participated in a dozen conquests. Their shields could withstand sustained bombardment. Their weapons could crack planetary crusts. The fleet commander, Admiral Lexmore, was confident as his ships approached the human border. "Sensors, report," Lexmore commanded as they entered the disputed territory. "Nothing on scanners, Admiral. The region appears empty." "Impossible." The humans issued a warning. "They must have ships here." Lexmore studied his tactical display. "Expand sensor range. Search every kilometer of space." What happened next would be debated in military academies for generations. The human ships appeared from nowhere. One moment the sensors showed empty space. The next moment, 500 vessels materialized around the Zalthrian fleet, like ghosts becoming solid. They had been there all along, hidden by Dr. Chen's quantum displacement technology. "Admiral." Lexmore had exactly 4 seconds to process what he was seeing before the first. Human weapons fired. The new human kinetic accelerators were based on a simple principle. Zalthrian shields were designed to deflect energy weapons. They had never needed to defend against solid projectiles moving at relativistic speeds. The tungsten rods punched through the shields as if they did not exist. They tore through hull plating and reactor cores with devastating efficiency. 3 Zalthrian ships exploded in the opening salvo. 4 more, or crippled and drifting. The survivors tried to return fire, but the human vessels were too fast. They moved in patterns that seemed random, but were actually carefully coordinated. They struck and vanished and struck again from different angles. Admiral Lexmore watched his fleet die around him. His flagship was hit twice. The bridge filled with smoke. Systems failed across the ship. He managed to send one final transmission before his communications array exploded. "They are not primitives. I repeat, they are not primitives. We have severely underestimated." The transmission ended as the flagship's reactor went critical. The battle lasted 11 minutes. When it was over, every Zaltharian vessel was destroyed or disabled. The human fleet had lost 0 ships. General Frost watched the aftermath from the bridge of the Remembrance. There was no celebration, no cheering. The crew simply moved to the next objective with grim determination. "Commander Rivera," Elena said. "Status report. All targets neutralized. We sustained minor damage to 3 vessels, nothing critical. Salvage teams are retrieving Zaltharian survivors from the disabled ships." "Good. Treat the prisoners with dignity. Provide medical care. We are not savages." Elena studied the tactical display. "What is our next target?" "The supply depot at Kepler Station. Intelligence suggests it is lightly defended. Then we hit it within the hour. Keep the pressure on them. Do not give them time to adapt." Over the next 6 weeks, the human fleet moved through Zalthrian territory like a surgical blade. Supply lines were severed, military outposts were destroyed, communication relays were disabled. The humans did not target civilian populations. They did not bombard cities or attack non-military vessels. Every strike was precise and focused on breaking the Empire's ability to wage war. On Zalthar Prime, Emperor Vexter watched his military machine collapse with growing fury and disbelief. Reports flooded in from every sector. The humans were everywhere, nowhere. They struck without warning and disappeared before reinforcements could arrive. Their technology was superior in every way that mattered. How is this possible? Vexter demanded of his remaining commanders. 3 years ago, they were nothing. They had primitive ships and outdated weapons. Now they destroy our fleets as if we are children playing at war. Ambassador Krienal, an elderly Zalthrian diplomat who had opposed the attack on Earth's colonies, stepped forward. She had been silent during most of the War Council meetings, but now she could remain quiet no longer. My emperor, they did what we have forgotten how to do. They adapted. They innovated. They were desperate, and desperation breeds creativity. She looked at Vexter with sad eyes. We have been the dominant power for so long that we stopped improving. We stopped questioning. We believed our superiority was permanent. The humans had no such luxury. Vexter turned on her with rage. You dare suggest that these primitives are our equals? No, my emperor, Krienal replied calmly. I am suggesting they may be our superiors. At least in this moment. At least in the ways that matter for survival. The emperor raised his hand to strike her, but another report interrupted him. The human fleet had destroyed the main military shipyard at Proxima Outpost. 30 vessels under construction were lost. The facility itself was rendered inoperable. Vexter slumped back onto his throne. For the first time in his long life, he felt something he had never experienced before. He felt fear. The turning point came during the Battle of Meridian Gate. The Zalthrian Empire assembled its largest remaining fleet, nearly 400 warships, for a desperate counterattack. They believed that overwhelming numbers would compensate for inferior technology. They were wrong. General Frost divided her fleet into 20 smaller groups. Each group targeted different sections of the Zalthrian formation simultaneously. The quantum displacement allowed them to coordinate attacks with perfect timing. The Zalthrian commanders could not communicate fast enough to respond to threats appearing from multiple directions. The battle was brutal and decisive. When it ended, the Zalthrian fleet was shattered. Only 73 ships managed to retreat. The human losses were 41 vessels, the highest casualties they had sustained, but the strategic victory was absolute. The Empire no longer had the strength to defend its core systems. In the aftermath of Meridian Gate, General Frost faced her most difficult decision. Her fleet was positioned to strike at Zalthar Prime itself. She had enough firepower to bombard the planet. She could kill millions of Zalthrian civilians. She could do to them what they had done to humanity's colonies. Commander Rivera found her alone in her quarters, staring at the photograph of her family. The fleet is ready, he said quietly. We await your orders. Elena was silent for a long moment. It killed Sophie, she finally said. My daughter was 7 years old. She had never hurt anyone. She loved drawing pictures of stars and planets. She wanted to be an explorer when she grew up. Her voice cracked slightly. They took that from her. They took everything from her. I know, Rivera said. My brother was the same. He was a good man. He deserved better. If I give the order to bombard their planet, millions will die. Children will die. Innocent people who had nothing to do with the attack on our colonies. Elena looked at Rivera. Would that bring Sophie back? Would that honor her memory? Rivera shook his head. No. It would make us into what they are. It would make this war meaningless. Elena nodded slowly. Open a channel to Emperor Vexter. It is time to end this. The transmission was established within minutes. Emperor Vexter appeared on screen. He looked diminished, older than his years. The arrogance was gone from his bearing. General Frost, he said, you have defeated us. Your fleet surrounds our homeworld. What are your terms? Elena leaned forward. You will withdraw all Zalthari military forces from the territories you took from us. You will provide reparations for the families of the 200,000 you murdered. You will submit to the authority of a galactic council where all species have equal representation. And you, personally, will stand trial for war crimes. Vexter S. face darkened. You asked me to surrender my throne and my freedom? I am not asking, Elena said coldly. These are the terms. Accept them, or I will reduce your military infrastructure to ash. I will not harm your civilians, but I will ensure you can never threaten other species again. The choice is yours. The Emperor looked at her for a long moment. He saw no mercy in her eyes, but he also saw no cruelty. He saw justice. I accept your terms, he said quietly. 6 months later, Elena Frost stood before a memorial on Earth. It was a wall of names carved in black stone. 200,000 names. Every person who had died in the Zaltharian attack. She placed flowers beneath her daughter's name, her husband's name. The war was over. The Zaltharian Empire had been dismantled. A new galactic council had been formed with representatives from dozens of species. Humanity had earned its place among stars, not through conquest, but through the strength to defend itself, and the wisdom to show restraint. Elena touched Sophie's name on the wall. One last time. We won, she whispered, and we did not become monsters. I hope that is enough. I hope you would be proud. Behind her, the sun rose over a world that had survived its darkest moment. Humanity had been tested and had not broken. They had been given every reason for vengeance and had chosen justice instead.